Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Dive into Applied Science. Today we are talking about fish and rivers. But we will hear more about this in a few minutes. And we have a guest from France who's also from Birkenfeld. And our guest can introduce herself.
Hello. My name is Elodie Boussinet. I'm a PhD student at the Umweltcampus Birkenfeld, and I'm studying mostly fish and reintroductions and how to manage them in the rivers.
So, Elodie, the first question on this podcast is always the same.
Yeah.
Before we dive deeper, please describe your PhD project in one sentence, if possible. For some people, that's quite hard.
Okay, maybe 1.5. My PhD is about migratory fish that disappear in the Rhine since the 16th, and we are reintroducing these species. And my goal is to learn more about how they spawn, how they migrate to the sea, and see how we can manage them and do a lot of monitoring with them to protect them more, because we are reintroducing them in the river.
So fish disappear from the Rhine.
Yeah, they disappear somehow. There's a lot of consequences because it's a loss of biodiversity. And it comes that they disappear because in the 60s, the fisheries were quite a big thing in Germany and Netherlands, over the world, but also here in this region was really quite intense. And so overfishing was one of the for the fish population. So from not only for shads, where it's the species that I'm studying, but also for salmon, for example, for eels. So quite. And maybe people will know more, like if I say salmon, then shads. The second was also pollution. The water pollution was quite bad before. Now the Rhine is getting better, like more healthier. Before, because of the mining, the transport of the boat transportation was really, really bad. There is another harm as well for the fish population, is the destruction of the spawning grounds, because the fish, or at least the shads, are spawning on a gravel bed, and this has been destroyed because of the human use. Because we want to build more things, we want to have bigger agricultures, fields. Yeah.
Can you explain what exactly this gravel bed is?
It's just small rocks, so it's gravel, and they need to have, during their spawning action, they need to have this substance on the floor of the river, and a specific speed of the river as well. So they cannot spawn anywhere, like everywhere in the Rhine. They have to, or Rhine or other territories, they have to spawn in a specific area that fits the best for the survival of the offspring.
So the rocks have to be the right size,
the right size,
place.
The speed of the water has to be as the best. The high like the depth of the water also has to be at the perfect depth, not too low, not too shallow.
This may sound like a stupid question, but why should we protect the fish in the first place? What's the benefit of it?
The benefits is mainly to, as I said, not lose a lot of biodiversity. Since the last 3-4 decades, we lost more than 80% of biodiversity, which is quite a lot. And biodiversity is important to maintain equilibrium in the system. Without that, without a lack of certain species, the ecosystem just is not equilibrated anymore. That's the important thing. Beside that, before they were used for fishing, so for food consumption, this is not like what we want to go anymore. It's more like to re-equilibrate, have equilibrium in the system, so create this biodiversity.
Are the fish only disappearing from the Rhine?
No.
It's probably from other rivers as
Yes, yes. I said from the Rhine because it's the system I'm studying, but we have the same case for the shads in all over Europe. The range of the population from of the shad was in the 80s was from Norway to Morocco.
Oh,
And right now
it's quite a very
it's a large
big
range.
span.
Yeah. Now it's like before, because we reintroduced in Germany, so we can say that it's from Germany to north of Spain. So it's like contraction.
That's also a huge range.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still a huge contraction when you say that this fish can migrate thousands of kilometers during their life. And of course, the population, the numbers are way, way low than it was in 2 decades ago or like 3 decades ago. In the Gironde system, which is on the Atlantic coast of France, in the 80s, you can catch like tons of Alice shads, and now they just caught like 1,000 per year. So from tons you pass to 1 or 2,000 that they observe, not caught because there is a protection law in there. There's a fish ban, so you cannot caught them anymore for consumption like this.
Now, Trier University of Applied Science lies directly at the Mosel. So what about this river? What about the fish population there?
Yeah, the fish population is quite low, as in other rivers, at least for the shads. I'm not talking for other species, but for the shads. And they cannot go as far as Koblenz. So near Koblenz, where the Mosel is coming from the Rhine, because there is dams. Dams is also a huge problem for migratory fish. It's another arm for the population. Those, especially for migratory fish, because they need to move. For the shads, they are born in freshwater, and then they have to reach the North Sea to grow for 4 to 5 years, and then come back again in the Rhine system to reproduce. And after that, they have completed their life cycle, and they can die peacefully. This is the story of the shads. There's many species like the salmon. They do that a couple of times during their lifespan. So if you have a lot of barriers and if you have to do it one time, it's already hard. But imagine if you have to do it a couple of times in your lifetime. So all the difficulties are still there. The pollution is better. The Rhine is healthier than it was before. The overfishing is less. The pressure is way less than before as well. But there is still this matter of the barriers that we can find in the Rhine. So the Rhine is like a kind of the Rhine River is a free-flowing water, but the tributaries itself, like the Mosel, they have barriers that it's quite hard to cross. That's why now there is more and more infrastructure that they built at the dams. It's called fish passes. It's quite obvious what it...
Fish passes?
Yeah, it's quite obvious what it means is that they allow the fish to pass in one way or another across the dam. For some fish, it's still quite hard to do, especially for eels, where they have to cross these hydropower plants. So these huge turbines, it's really harmful for the eels. Because it tends to pass through, and you can imagine when the hydropower plant is on, what it could be. It's like at the end, kind of a fish soup. So it's really, really bad. The eels are also endangered species, as the shads and the salmon. So that's why now we have to find out how to maintain the population, but also how to protect it from these kind of things, because the electricity industry is like a huge lobby, and you cannot say, no, destroy this hydropower plant because it's harmful for the fish. So if it's a small barrier, and you can always have discussion with the authorities or with the people running this, but when it's like huge lobbies, like EDF is the French company for like the national French company that we have in Gonsheim, so near Strasbourg, where the Alishat goes to. Gonsheim is a huge hydropower plant, and you cannot just say, take it out.
Mhm.
It's not possible. It creates a lot of electricity for the people. So it's either that or we keep nuclear power plant. So it's like, you have to. It's really hard question, hard discussion between the states, the lobbies, and the scientists. So it's a huge fight, yeah. But we try to compromise everything.
Sounds like a difficult challenge.
Yes, it is.
So take us, the audience, with you for a moment. How does your research exactly look like in, let's say, everyday life?
In everyday, so I can start maybe like in overall, not in one day. It will be a bit short, 24 hours to do all I have to do. But
course not,
yeah. So first we need fish. We need fish to study them. And those fish can be provided by this hydropower plant. So these are some advantages. If it's a free flow river like the Rhine, you cannot just go with your fish rope on the Rhine and try to catch one halishad. We need more than one halishad. So
sounds like an interesting research concept.
You can for fun, but it's for research. I will need maybe 30 years if I do that to finish my PhD. So in this, for example, in Gemeinsam, we have this fish trap. So this fish trap is put into the water. The fish is entering in there, and it's a trap. So basically, after a few hours, they close the other gate and they pull the cage. Mm-hmm. They put them into like a basin to calm down, and if there are other species, also they need to measure them and release them into the water. But for the shad, then they keep them and they send it to me. Either I go get them or they send it to me in Birkenfeld. And from that, I'm with the fish in the lab and I try to retrieve what is called otolith. So the otolith is a small calcic structure that you can find in the ears of, it will be found a bit funny what I will say, but ears of fish. Yes, fish have ears.
I'm learning a lot today. Fish have ears.
Yes. Okay. So those stones are actually like the one we have in our ears, to have the equilibrium.
Yeah.
So these are the otoliths.
So just to follow our question, where exactly are the ears of the fish?
Just behind, this, we call that opercle, this thing. So we have the gills and then it's just like there's a few canals. So it's a same thing, like it's full of water, and with vibration they can detect the movement and stuff. And so these otoliths are really, really useful for many purposes. First, you can know the age of the fish. So even if it doesn't talk, you can know it.
You mean the fish doesn't?
No, they don't
tell
talk.
You their age.
No, sadly, or else I would just ask him, where are you coming from? And it will be way easier. No, so these otoliths are formed in like a calcic structure, as I said, and they are useful to determine the age. So these work like when you want to know the age of a tree. You have these rings that you can read when you cut like a tree, and you have these rings. I can have another image. When you cut an onion, you have these rings as well.
Yeah, those different layers.
Yes, and so each layers or each rings will say that this is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, etc. So for the shares, we can go until 6 or 7 for the oldest one. And for the youngest one, when they come back as an adult in the Rhine, it's 4 years. So we can have between 4 and 7 years old adult shad coming back from the North Sea to the River Rhine to spawn. So that is the annual age, but you can even go deeper, is that you can even estimate one of the first days of the fish. So you will have small rings in between these big rings. You will have really small rings that you can count. So this will be the day 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the birth of the fish, you can count 100 days. And this is really important because within these 100 days, they usually are the time where they will migrate to the North Sea. So you can then see how long they took to reach the North Sea, if they reach the North Sea within the 100 days or after that.
And how long does a fish need? From, let's say, Koblenz or Trier to the North
Depends
Sea?
of the current, depends of many things. If they are big enough, they have to be fit to fight the Rhine. The Rhine, I don't know if you already walk along the Rhine, but it's a really, really strong current.
rough,
And when you are a fish of 10 centimeter, you have to be strong enough to, and of course the current, they have to swim out of the Rhine. So sometimes they also let them, when you are at sea and you just lay like this, sometimes they don't do like this, but they go with the current as well. But they have to be fit enough to resist to this strong river. So, and it depends of the system. So the Rhine is quite long, but if I come back from the Gironde system, it's a quite short system. It's only from the dams where they cannot cross after to the Atlantic Ocean. It's only, let's say, 400 kilometers. The Rhine, they have to do double of that. According that there's a lot of dams, so they will take way longer, especially in the Delta Rhine, where in Rotterdam and this area, the river is not open because of Netherlands. It's below the water. They need to have these huge dams, and so they are open not every day. They are open if they need more or less water, to protect the lands. So it's also an option, like it's really hard also for the fish to reach the North Sea, and they have to reach the North Sea to grow. And after that, we can also do what it's called macrochemistry with the otoliths. So I can measure certain substances, such as strontium and barium, and those substances are also available in the water.
What are those two substances called?
Strontium and barium.
Okay.
Yeah. So I relate these two substances to the calcium to have kind of a ratio, and then it's like standardized. And I can compare these standard values from each otolith, so each individual basically, to the water. And each water portion doesn't have the same concentration. So it means that, for example, if I take a water sample in Strasbourg and one water sample in the Moselle, technically they don't have the same concentration. So it means that I try to do a match between the otolith and the water sample and see where they are coming from. So if the one value, let's say 2 images, it won't be the right values, but if the otolith has a value of strontium of 1 and Gansheim has a strontium value of 3, but the Moselle has a concentration value of 1.5, then
I see.
we will try to match and see, there's a, let's say, 80% probability that this fish come from the Moselle. That's how we work for the natal origin.
This still sounds like a very complex work overall.
Complex, yeah.
Not only the technical aspect. Do you work alone? Do you work in a team?
I have some teams with me.
Some teams.
Some
plural.
teams, yeah, because the shads are in different. They cross different countries. They cross France. They cross Germany. They cross Netherlands. So we have teams that work in Netherlands for us, that get the fish from for us in Netherlands. So when they enter or when they go out of the Delta Rhine, and that's when they go out, that is the juvenile. So they are more or less between 10 and 15 centimeters. And then we have the teams in France who are called the fish in the fish bath, the one I explained earlier. And in between, there is Germany, where also we have people that catch fish either with a stone net, so it's like a boat, where you have a huge net that is a bit conic. So you can open and close anytime you want, and then the flow of the water will enter in and hopefully fish as well. And also we have other person who catch fish in Landamburg. So Landamburg is on the Neckar River, where also there is alley sheds. And so it's the same system that we have in Gancham, is these fish traps. So yeah, we work with a lot of people. There's also people that are from France who release the fish in the river because, as I said at the beginning, it's something that maybe I should have started with, is that since the 80s, we don't have any observation of Adishad in the Rhine system. So we need to...
Why though? Did they just stop to monitor them?
No, because we don't observe them anymore. They just no fish. And the thing is, we need to have a stable and healthy population that we can reproduce like in a fishery, and then release the offspring into the river. The thing is that in the part of the Rhine system, there is no fish at all. So we need to take them from somewhere else. And the only population that is quite high and stable, so high in the term that you can sacrifice some adults for reproduction and then take their offspring to be transported into the Rhine system. And those fish are from the Gironde system, where I was talking earlier. So basically, they took, as I said, some adults from the fish passes in the Gironde system, bring them into like a pool in a fishery basement, and they reproduce the fish. And those small larvae, so the offsprings, are then transported after a few days of hatching to the Rhine system and released into the water. And then it's a bit like, hey, good luck.
This sounds like a lot of steps.
It's a lot of steps, it's a lot of people involved, and it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
Just the transport every year, so we do that annually. And it's that millions of larvae that is released. I think since they started in 2007, so they started the project 2007, I think the first release was 2008. I think until now, we are almost over 20 million larvae released. So it depends of the years, but sometimes it's a million larvae, sometimes it's a bit less, sometimes it's a bit more. It depends of how much adults they catch in the Gironde system as well. Because as I said, the population is like reducing in terms of range, and also the population itself is like less and less every year because of all the pressure that we have, and also climate change is also not helping at all.
Probably not. Probably not.
The acidification of the ocean is not helping at all, because you have to think that they stay there 4 to 5 years. The pressure in the ocean is also not good. The predation is also not good. The pollution, we are getting better, of course, but there's also these barriers. So there's a lot of harm that can be made still to the population. So we work with a lot of people, yeah.
It also sounds like the perfect example of a very European cooperation, since you're working with France, Germany, Netherlands, and was there also a fourth country?
No, but we have some contacts also with Belgium because of the Rhine. Sometimes some shells got lost into the Belgium instead of going to Germany. So it's the data run is very complicated. There's a lot of options for them to go out from the Rhine to the North Sea. That is also a huge problematic for us, because it means that we need more effort to choose the right river or to have enough reference in the water samples to try to match with the otolith. So it's really complicated story and studies.
It sounds complex. It also sounds like, a big challenge overall. Therefore, my next question, if you look back at your project so far, what has been the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge? I will say, there is two. We need to have this match, we need to have some reference from the water system. And when I arrived and I started a PhD, there were actually no data at all. And I have to work over the Rhine system, which is a huge, huge system. So I had to choose few rivers that we estimate that they might have spawning grounds there. And it's important for us to know where are the spawning grounds, because then we can focus on them. Focusing on them means that we can protect them and then improve the reproduction. If we improve the reproduction, then there will be more algae sheds coming into the river after they went to the North Sea and came back for reproduction. So it's like a life cycle. We have to protect the spawning grounds and try to protect how they try to reach the North Sea for improving the population. So this was one of the challenges. We have to think quite a lot where to establish some reference database. So for the reference database, we have some tanks, huge tanks, like I think it was 800 liters. So we did that during COVID. So it was quite nice because no one was outside. So when we were on the field, it was quite nice. But it was also a big challenge. And so we reared some larvae that were coming from France, because that's how we get them. And we put these tanks in 4 different locations. So one was at the Lippe River, one was at the Zig River, another one in Koblenz. So on the Rhine, not on the Moselle, but in Koblenz. And the next one was in the Neckar in Landenburg. So where this fish trap is. So we put it in the fish trap, one near the fish trap, because we know these sheds coming. We put one in Koblenz because we know that this fish has the tendency to die after reproduction. So basically they die, and a few hours or days later they are just dying. They kind of complete their job and then that's it. So we thought, okay, maybe then there's something going on in this area. In Siegburg, we just choose this because we also observed some sheds and we released many there. And the Lippe is also because we observed a few fish over there. We did not do in Gansheim because it was quite far. So it's also a time like where I had the need of people. Because we need to carry these tanks for 3 months and go there at least the 2 first weeks every day. Like it means also during the weekend.
So you basically lived there?
I lived there.
Okay.
I drove, I think, from Birkenfeld. So I was responsible for Koblenz, and I drove there, I think, 30,000 kilometers with a car.
Jesus.
Over 3 months. That was quite a lot. And so for the Lippe and Zig, it was a bit far. I was not able to do, like, if you have to do every day, it's not possible. So we had 2 students from the University of Cologne who helped us. So they were responsible for this tank. And then after that, they just sent me the data. They were collecting, so of course we were collecting fish regularly in this tank because we want to know over a certain time they will grow and they will incorporate the right concentration of the water into the otoliths. So then we will know that this fish has the reference of this river, and this will be our database for the reference. Based on that, then you can see how the fish will match with the river. And when you have a fish that you don't know the origin, you will try to use a model. So we'll use a random forest model. So it's like kind of a model where it's a tree decision. So it's either they have the concentration or they don't have the concentration of the river. So you need a reference database to do that. That was the most challenges, to build this database. Because now when we have a fish that comes to the lab, we prepare everything. We send them to the analysis lab in France. And then they send us the results and we try to match into this model. So it's quite easy process. And yeah.
But still, it sounds like a fascinating project. Not only because of the whole topic in general, because of your various steps and that you also have to cooperate with other universities, other countries, and so on. But, well, it sounds like it's also for the best cause. If people or industries, societies, whatever, are interested in your work, how can they contact you? How can they reach out?
They can, so when we do this analysis, we also have to publish so basically they can contact me right now with my university email. It's quite easy. I'm also in database and at the University of Birkenfeld. But after that, the email will not be there for a long time. So when I'm done, I fortunately don't have these emails. So the paper will be the most important. And this you can reach me on ResearchGate. Do you know this platform?
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, ResearchGate will be the best. So you just have to take my name, Elodie Boussinet, and you will find my publication. And usually there is a part where you can contact the author. So yeah, if you're interested with this and you want to discuss, or you have like a project that you wanted to work with together, that's the best, in my opinion, to see, because those kind of university emails, sometimes you change project or universities and they don't follow you.
They are temporary,
Yes.
I know.
So for me, the best option is to, if you want to work with a researcher, you have to contact it on ResearchGate or other platform. Google Scholar also works. Personally, I don't have this account, but ResearchGate is the best option.
If people look out for your name, they will find you.
Yes, even just on Google, you find directly the publication usually, and that's the fastest, in my opinion. Yeah.
So the audience heard it. Remember your name. Elodie, thank you very much for coming on Deep Dive. Thank you very much for the insight and your explanation and everything. It sounds like a fascinating project. I hope it goes smoothly.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
And also thank you, the audience, for listening and for watching and for being a part of Deep Dive. And we will see and hear each other in the next episode.